Good morning, everyone. In the last 90 days, more than 70 million people searched to go to travel to the Central and Eastern Europe. The most popular length of stay was 2 to 3 nights, and this 70 million that we saw in the last 90 days was 11% more than it was last year. So I think overall we can say that CEE as a market as a whole is doing pretty well. Of course, within the region, there are a number of markets that perform better than the other. Some are young and upcoming markets, some are more saturated markets that have a different focus right now. Today, I will be highlighting a few of them. So we're going to go through some individual markets. But first, to talk about demand. But first, what is demand? Demand is many different things, but what does it mean in here? Demand is a need, a desire to travel. And in order to discuss this, I want to show you getting to know the search data, the decision-making process of a traveler. There's different ways, there's different labels, you can add another layer, you can rename them, but in general, in principle, these are the ones. So the first part is the thought. The idea to travel is born. So this is either like you hear from a friend about a great destination to go and visit, you hear about the dates for a conference, so you have to go. Then that's the thought, that's the spark, that's the start. And then secondly, we have the search. So somebody's going to search for a flight or a transportation method and to book a hotel room. Then depending on what I'm getting back as a user, I'm either going to go to a booking or I'm going to stick at the search, and if the booking is successful and in the end I still want to travel, there is the travel. For all these layers, there's data available. There's a way to quantify this. And I think, well, my colleagues from STR, we're going to talk about this later, they're going to talk about the performance of what actually happened. What I'm going to be talking about today with you is the search. Because what happened? If you have 1,000 guests in your hotel, were there 100,000 or 100 million people interested in that? How many people go from thought to search to booking to travel? Because a lot can happen. And I heard it already a few times today, and I'm going to be mentioning it a few times today as well. And connectivity plays a key role in this. So how well is your destination, your city, your point of interest, however you want to define it, how well is it connected? So something about the connectivity, we can say, okay, I want to go from A to B. And the search, whether it materializes into a booking, depends on many different things. But the most important thing that we always see is that if somebody materializes not into a booking, then the perceived value by the user is not exceeding the price. So either the flight is too expensive, or the flight takes too long, and it takes too long of my time, and also we pay with our own time, so that's also an expense, or the hotel room is too expensive. And the more connectivity you have, the more offers you have, the lower the market value is, the higher conversion rate you have. Very plain. Anyway, we sit in this funnel. 2 seconds, quick word about our company, because what do we do? How do we talk? Why can we talk about search data? Why are we here today talking about search data? Kiwi.com is a travel technology company coming from originally the Czech Republic. We have our headquarters there. We have a big office here as well, but we're in Brno. And what we do is essentially, we are an online travel agent, but what differentiates us from the rest is that we build itineraries that nobody can build. We build itineraries between a local carrier and a full-service carrier. We can bring you to the other side of the world without, even if an airline doesn't, or a code-share agreement isn't in place there. So we find these connections. And then we are in the middle, because we are in the middle between supply and demand. Because on the one hand, we have access to the demand of so many travelers. People searching on Skyscanner, Kayak, Agoda, Google Flights. All of these searches end up with us, over 120 million every single day. And in order to give all these people that are searching to travel the best possible way to get there, we make billions, over 30 billion price checks every single day. And this movement, this flow of demand and supply and how these two are reacting is what we do. So that is Kiwi. What we do within the team is we help the industry, such as airlines, airports, hospitality, professionals like yourself. We help them to identify untouched hidden markets, untouched potential, and improve overall connectivity. Yes? Let's get to the data. I will take you from north to south, highlighting 11 markets. If there is a market that I will not be discussing today and you are interested in it, please do not hesitate to reach out. Yes? Because I'd be more than happy to, but with the time constraints, let's start. We start in the Baltics. Stable market, Estonia biggest grower, but not much going on. So Estonia being the digital travel hub for, or not just the digital travel, but the digital hub for the ideal place for digital nomads, we see a 15% year-on-year growth. We see that the people here, again, they are searching in the last 90 days. So it's for travels that are taking place from today onwards. So we see that the summer season is over for these countries, and people are there for the short stays, like we are here all today. Lithuania was doing quite well, and what we see is that they're actually suffering from, in the tourism numbers, because of having so much border space with Belarus, Russia. Apart from that, so what you see on the right-hand side, I have 3 slides for you. The numbers, the year-on-year growth, the length of stay, preferred length of stay, and these are the top source markets. Again, last 90 days. Secondly, the middle. This is the biggest market, and also the most saturated market. So let's talk about Poland first. As promised, I would talk about connectivity. Poland is understanding this. Poland is investing a lot of money in its carrier, in its airline, but also another thing they did is they just opened Radom Airport, which is a Warsaw airport, which is outside of the city, which is the 3rd airport of Warsaw, and they want to have 65 million people, sorry, that's a lot, 65 million people traveling via Radom Airport by 2030. Because they understand that the geolocation, the geographical location, is beneficial. So not only that, also in the railway, Poland is investing a lot, and that's what we're seeing in the numbers. It's a big market with a lot of investment going on and a lot of movement going on. Then, Czechia. Czechia is doing very well, because what we see here, the 6% increase in demand, is not reflecting the true potential what they actually achieved. In Q2 this year, so the last quarter, Czechia welcomed over 6 million people, which is their busiest Q2 ever in terms of visitors, doing quite well. Prague is still the #1 market, but you see also now other parts of Czechia are becoming of interest to the people visiting the country. Slovakia, I put it there because they're growing. They're growing big time. Lots of different traffic going on, but they're growing 30% year on year. You see on the size of the market, 500,000 people were searching. It's still not as big as Poland and Czechia with 22 and 12 million respectively, but they're getting there. They're growing, and it's a good development. Then Hungary. In principle, Hungary is doing very well. The thing which was not working so much in their benefit is that the Hungarian government has implemented some new rules regarding the VATs, which caused Wizz Air and Ryanair to say, you're forcing us out. Our operation costs are getting too high and you're forcing us out. Whether this is actually the case, probably not, but we don't know, right? It's also part of a negotiation, but this is what's happening in Hungary, and that's what we see back in the data as well, is that it's a -1% year-on-year growth. So it's a small decline. Again, we're looking at searches made last 90 days and what is the travel ahead. So it could easily be that we have different numbers for the summer, but those are not displayed here. Then, lastly, I think the most interesting part of the market, because there's most of the movement. We have here 4 countries, and they have some things in common, and they are a lot better than they were 5 years ago. But let me just deep dive on each one of them. Bulgaria, you see that the more south we go, the longer the length of stay is going to be, right? So Bulgaria is already getting to 4 to 5 nights. Romania is still relatively short, but Albania and Croatia is long travel. Right? This is your longer travel. We see that Bulgaria has a +4% year-on-year growth, which is actually quite good given the news that they've been sharing around, because both Bulgaria and Romania expected to be in the visa-free Schengen zone by now. They aren't. They're fighting it, but there are some countries opposed, and they aren't right now. The one who is, since the start of this year, is Croatia. And Croatia is doing well. Even though the plus 5%, it doesn't fully reflect how well it's doing. Also, Croatia, Zagreb, Dubrovnik, they had their most successful seasons this summer, ever. Since they moved to the euro at the beginning of this year, the country got a lot more expensive, which led to their favorite source market, which has always been Czech Republic, is now not Czech Republic anymore. You know where the Czechs are going? Poland. So the Czechs prefer Poland over Croatia because it's getting too expensive. This doesn't mean that Croatia is not doing well, because they have a lot of new source markets. They're still surfing the wave of the TV series that were filmed there, and there's still many Americans traveling there, and that's what you see all over the place. Also from Poland, from Czechia, from Vienna, almost every secondary airport that we can talk about, they start opening routes to Croatia. And what there was before is that Croatia's flag carrier, they ceased, they grew, it was a huge impact. What we see now is that Ryanair, they're still not back at the original levels, but what Ryanair set up a base there, for example, opened 20 routes, and you see in the demand as well to Croatia is that it's big cities, big high-income cities that want to go there. And last time I will say it, but remember, this is people who want to travel October, November, and they still want to go for a week from high-income countries. This is a very good development. But I have to say, the ultimate winner of today and the summer is Albania. Albania is doing extremely well, like 87% year-on-year growth, and Albania is getting very interesting because what tourists are now looking for, more and more, is to find budget-conscious solutions. And they see, if you compare Albania, you have exactly the same as what you have in Greece and Croatia. Maybe not exactly, but more or less the same, but for a lot less. So you see a lot of traffic going there, and all for 6 to 7 nights, and the 87%, and you see as well that it's a substantial market, Albania. It's 3.5 million people versus 5.5 million people, 5 million for Romania and 5.5 for Croatia. So it's not a small market. It's a substantial market. So Albania, all things considered, the big winner of today. And these were my countries. Again, if you see a country, if there is a country missing that you still would like to see, I'm here all day. Please do not hesitate to reach out. And thank you very much for your time, and have a beautiful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Wouter.